as a curious young person, like, what is this thing that is so horrifying that you can't bear to let me see it? Like, is it that bad? Found in the depths of my family's house. I found some of my Hebrew textbooks from elementary school. Israel shel Simcha, my Israel. Congratulations to Simone Zimmerman for winning the Israel Jubilee contest, February 1998. I was 7. I had like a pretty traditional Jewish upbringing. I grew up in LA. I went to a Jewish day school, kindergarten through the end of high school. I went to Jewish youth group, Jewish camp. I have family in Israel. I lived in Israel in high school on an exchange program. Israel was just treated like a core part of being a Jew. So you did prayers and you did Israel. Draw a circle around every time you see the symbol of the State of Israel. Draw your own symbol of the State of Israel. We also celebrated holidays, obviously. So Hanukkah, Israeli independence, all of it together.
Can you separate Israel in Judaism? I don't know. I can't. You know, some people I think can. To me, it's the same. You know, you can't separate it. Israel is Judaism and Judaism is Israel. And that is who I am and that is my identity. And I think every single thing that I experienced along my life has melded into that. Like there was never, you know, a divide for me.
The Jewish summer camps would always bring a big contingency of Israelis to try to drive Israeli culture within the camp and connect the American Jews to Israeli culture.
So when I was in high school, I went on this Jewish youth trip to Israel, and one of the programs we did was called Kadna, where we spent a day pretending to be soldiers in the Israeli army. We wore army uniforms, and stuff like that was just sort of a normal part of what our childhood looked like.
At summer camp, in the middle of the night, they would wake us up and take us out. Sometimes that was to pull pranks, and other times I remember doing military games, using the command pozatsta, sneaking around. So anytime the commander, who was one of our counselors, said pozatsta, we would all get on the ground, and they made a game out of it. Simulating being in the military and sneaking around and having to be a part of that.
On youth programs that I participated in Israel, you could spend a whole week on an Israeli army base wearing army uniforms and going through a sort of simulation of basic training. And that's where some people, you know, learn to shoot guns for the first time.
It's not just regular military games, it's specifically using Israeli military commands, often with Israeli counselors giving them. When you're a young kid, that really drills it into you that this is something important. And I wanted to be a part of that.
We often talked about the ways that you could be a good supporter of the Jewish people. One was to join the army, and the other was to go become an Israel advocate.
There were even clubs within school to work on advocating for Israel. My high school sent a delegation to the AIPAC conference.
AIPAC, the American Israel Public Affairs Committee. They're the people who tell the Congress which legislation affecting Israel they like and which they don't.
The bond between the United States and Israel is unbreakable today, unbreakable tomorrow, unbreakable forever.
AIPAC is just the thing that you do. Like going to the AIPAC conference is just sort of seen as like a community event.
Here with us today are leaders from across the pro-Israel community, including Abe Foxman.
I learned a long time ago, there is no way you can say no to Abe.
If you were to ask me, if you had $100 million, how would you change the future of American Jews? I would make trips to Israel available to any Jewish kid who wanted to go. Make that experience. They're doing it now. It's called Birthright.
It is up to you to be our soldiers abroad, armed with love and knowledge and conviction, ready to sway public opinion in Israel's favor.
Learning about the quote-unquote conflict is something that is part of programming, as something that you have to learn how to defend Israel from the lies that other people are saying, and you have to be able to tell people the truth.
Part of becoming part of Israeli society is to join the military. When I was in high school, I told my parents I don't even need to apply to college because I'm gonna just join the Israeli military and make aliyah and live in Israel. I honestly have felt for many years that I fit in better in Israeli society than I do in American society, even before I moved there. And I wanted to defend what I saw as my country. So when I enlisted, I was a magist, which is a heavy machine gunist during my basic and advanced training, and then they put me on a light machine gun. We were training for war, training for strategy to conquer hilltops and conquer open spaces. 1 week was focused on urban warfare in close quarters, and that was simulated in what looked like Arab housing. After the 7 months of our training, we were deployed to the West Bank. Our missions included working in 2 different checkpoints, patrolling villages on foot in full gear and bulletproof vests. We would go into apartment buildings, go up to the roof, and make sure that we could be seen so that we could make our presence felt. We wanted them to know that we were watching. That was the goal of the mission. We would set up what's called a checkpost, which is a checkpoint that is situated at a major intersection. At checkpoints, we would stop people, create a traffic jam, check their IDs, check their trunks, every day on their way to work or on their way to visit their family, to keep them on their toes, essentially. And they being Palestinians. Even though Israel was a central part of everything we did in school, we never really discussed the Palestinians. It was presented to us that Israel was basically an empty wasteland. When the Jews arrived, there were some Arabs there, they said, but there was no organized people. They had really treated the land poorly. Yeah, there are Palestinians, and they just want to kill us all and want us to leave the land.
I just don't think I had any conception of anything about what it means to be a Palestinian besides that it means that you're a person who kills Jews or wants to kill Jews.
It was always presented to us that the Arabs only know terrorism.
Somebody who comes here from New York or from Chicago and claiming that this land is theirs.
What makes like an 18-year-old American kid who was given a 10-day trip for free in Palestine, what made them want to come in and sacrifice his life? Why would a foreigner think it's okay to have superior rights to the rights of the indigenous population? Because somebody told them it's home.
This is our land. This is ours. That's what was conveyed to us.
It got to hit me that people look at Palestine and Palestinians from the point of view of the oppressor, not from the point of view of the oppressed.
I think what I knew about who was in Israel before the state was created is basically there were some Jews always there. Most Jews were in exile. We'd always yearned to go back. The idea that there were native inhabitants that lived there was not even part of my frame of reference. We were told it was a land without a people, for a people without a land, and we came back. From the ashes of the Holocaust, the state of Israel was birthed.
The rights of the people that lived here does not exist in that narrative, and other than us being an obstacle, the Nakba continues. It started in 1948 and continues until this day.
In the quote-unquote West Bank, we're in the quote-unquote settlements. This is one of the roadblocks that kind of ensure that the cars get checked to see that no terrorists are coming in. I lived in America, and then I came back to Israel by myself at the age of 17 to serve in the army. And there are elements, what I would call the jihadist elements, that don't accept our presence here. But it's just tough for them. It's a great vision coming to fruition in our time, and there's nothing going to stop us.
From the day you are born, you live in, day out, day in, day out, without experiencing a day of freedom. Palestinians have to be forced to live in cages.
So I'm Israeli, born and raised. As a young Israeli growing up, my grandparents lived in the center of Jerusalem.
The battle for Jerusalem. At least 26 people are reported dead.
People I knew were injured and killed. And from a very young age, I knew I'm going to be joining the military. I was never in a Palestinian house till I barged into one in the middle of the night. One of the things that I did routinely was a mission where you are ordered to take over a Palestinian family's home and use that house as a military point. No warrant, you don't call in advance, it's a military occupation. And during my service, there were many moments where I saw myself acting violently, and there were moments of shame.
One day, one of my commanders came and grabbed me and one other soldier and said, there is a detainee at the Hawara checkpoint, and we need to go pick him up and bring him to the detention center that's in the base. When we got there, the Palestinian detainee, who was maximum in his early 20s, was sitting on the curb with his hands tied behind his back with zip ties and blindfolded. We got to the detention center within the base, and right outside, there were about 8 soldiers waiting for us. They saw us come, they grabbed the detainee from our hands and threw him to the ground while he's still blindfolded and hands tied behind his back. And they started kicking him for a good few minutes. I was responsible for this man's well-being. I was responsible to bring him from the checkpoint to the detention center. That was my job. And right outside the fence of the detention center, they grab him from me and they start beating him. I felt responsible, but my commander wasn't saying anything, so how could I say anything? The entire time that this was happening, a military police officer was standing just inside the fence watching and smoking a cigarette. As soon as these guys were done kicking this Palestinian man, the military police officer tossed his cigarette. He came, brought him inside the detention center. And I didn't even speak up. I didn't speak up. And that's just one of many stories that I have from my time in the West Bank. And it took many years for me to really come to terms with my part in it. Only after I got out of the army did I begin to realize that the stuff that I did in the day-to-day, just working in checkpoints, patrolling villages, that in and of itself was immoral.
I remember very vividly, I was sitting in my dorm room with a friend of mine. We got a phone call that an anti-Israel bill was being introduced in the student government. We bolted. On the way, called our parents. Both got sent talking points. And then we went into this student government meeting.
The Student Senate at the University of California, Berkeley, calling on campus officials to divest from companies that supply weapons that Israel uses in its occupation of the Palestinian territories.
You are siding with the Palestinians on the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. There's just no question about it.
I just knew it was this bad thing that I had to fight.
It is anti-Semitism. It is.
You are trying to make me feel marginalized on my own campus.
And I remember all of us going, well, you shouldn't boycott Israel because it's applying a double standard, and you shouldn't boycott Israel because it's unfair to single out Israel.
Please, I beg of you, I beg you, please, to have compassion and to remember that we are alienating students, and I am devastated by this bill. I am a human being.
I still remember you have these Palestinian students who get up and said, you know, Jewish students, you are crying about feeling silenced and marginalized. You know, My aunts and cousins didn't sleep for weeks while bombs were falling overhead in Gaza. What do you have to say to that?
If divestment is hostile, then where do we begin to describe the hostility of a military occupation?
I was thrown into all these conversations where people were throwing around all these words that I'd never heard before. Occupation, settlement, apartheid, ethnic cleansing. I just never heard anyone use any of these terms before. I thought I knew so much about Israel, but I didn't really know what anybody was talking about when they were talking about all these things. I remember coming to Hillel and saying, why aren't we answering Palestinian students' questions? I felt really embarrassed by it because mostly I felt like we weren't doing a good job refuting their arguments. Do we not have an actual counter-argument besides like rockets, double standard, anti-Semitism? I couldn't get an answer from anybody, and that was really disturbing for me. I mean, there are these people called Palestinians who think that Israel wields all this power over their lives and don't have rights, don't have water. Literally, what is this? How is this happening? How do I respond to it? Eventually, it got to a point where I found myself wanting answers to the questions that Palestinian students were asking. And so it led me on a process of trying to go figure those things out for myself. What is this thing that is so horrifying that you can't bear to let me see it? The summer after my freshman year, I went to Palestine and I knowingly crossed the line for the first time. I don't think I realized the extent to which what I would come to see on the ground would really shock me and horrify me.
So if you look at your maps, we're standing again right before is going to turn red, just over here where the soldiers are standing. So just look behind you guys. This is a block of houses. The people living in all these apartments here were not allowed to walk on this main road. So this was like a red road, a sterilized road, and imagine if you're a family living here, you can't open the front door of your house and walk out.
Today, the civil administration and the army came and demolished some of the tents here.
Something is deeply wrong here, and it's breaking my heart.
You want to go to like the major square, or where do you want to go?
We're in your hood, man.
This is my barber. Habibi, انت special.
As someone who came to see Jerusalem or Tel Aviv as places that I should imagine as home, I remember coming into the West Bank for the first time and actually seeing this place as someone else's home. This is a normal place where people are just trying to live their lives.
For me to get to Jerusalem, I have to think of, first of all, having the permit, getting to the checkpoint, waiting in lines for the checkpoint, getting to the soldiers at the checkpoint. The soldier might do anything to me at that point, including sending me back, and then crossing the checkpoint, and then having to take public transportation. Just the fact that I cannot drive.
Right.
As a Palestinian, I cannot drive in Jerusalem or anywhere in Israel.
Right. So we drove here today, and
And if I'm not home by 10 p.m. and I get caught on the other side, then I could be detained, I could lose my permit for good, I could be put in prison, I could be beaten up by soldiers. Who knows what will happen to me? Almost any rooftop you stand on in Bethlehem, you look one way or the other, you will see a settlement built around you.
I started coming here in 2010. I heard you speak to a group about anti-Semitism and inherited trauma, and started thinking a lot about what it means to challenge my community around the deep ingrained traumas that are totally stopping us from any sort of movement on this issue.
My first learning experience was when I was invited to go to Auschwitz on a bearing witness retreat. I actually say in Auschwitz I discovered one of the main reasons why this conflict exists today, which is this inherited trauma that exists in the Jewish community, where the feeling is that as Jews we're always attacked, we've always been attacked, we will always be attacked, and therefore the only way to maintain ourselves is to create this very suppressive security mechanism that would prevent this from happening again.
I mean, that's what I learned.
Yeah, that's what I heard. What is important for many of the Israeli Jews and the Jews from around the world we talk to is the simple recognition and acknowledgement of the story.
Right.
And that story is where the healing work begins to happen. As an activist, I think for many activists, what keeps us going is our ability to be able to look towards the future. I really believe that there is an emerging awakening within the American Jewish community. I've had even some American Jews who come here and they say, we came to Israel and we left from Palestine. For American Jews coming here and listening to us and hearing us and seeing our humanity and understanding that we are not just out sitting in bunkers planning the next attack against Israelis, that we do have a desire to live in peace and to have our freedom and they walk in our streets and they eat in our restaurants. And like, I mean, it's crazy that I have to say this, that we are real human beings that just want to survive and live in like all other people in this world. The moment they see this and experience this for themselves, it creates something in them. It shifts something in them. What they do with it when they go back, it becomes their responsibility.